Okay, so this is Growing Up Kate, part 3. And again, I'm trying to make this as organized as possible. So the last time I talked about my birth certificate, and this time I want to talk about my traumatic head injury. And for those of y'all that have never heard me talk about this, head injuries in children and when you're younger is actually them opening their spiritual channeling, like all their stuff. I guess some people call it like abilities. So rewind. Before that event happens, I am adamantly by my mother taught to read. And I'm talking about like every day. And at this time, because of the birth certificate thing, I just have happenings. So, adamantly taught to read. And because they were forcing me into school eventually, they did not want me around. So everything was some kind of gain for them, no matter what it was. So every day. And then as soon as I got it, I was like, hell yeah. So I would just read, ask for books. So this would be 1 or 2 years old. And then at about 2 or 3 is when the traumatic head injury happened. And I've gone back and healed this a few times because I died in that, and I saved myself from dying. When I say traumatic head injury, I mean it. So I was on a seesaw, an alligator-shaped seesaw, in daycare, which was in a church. And I was like, you know, it would be so cool. I can ride it standing up frontwards. What about backwards? And the borders of the walls were exposed wood. And I'm not talking about rounded pieces of wood. I'm talking about edged wood, where if you did this hard enough on it, you would wound yourself. You would injure yourself. So whenever I went on this alligator seesaw backwards, where do you think my head landed? And I remember it happening and not feeling anything. And the back of my head was soaked in blood. The back of my shirt was soaked in blood. Everyone at daycare was surrounding me as I was walking up to the teachers, because you think they knew what the fuck was happening? No. Hell no. They didn't fucking like me. So I was walking up to them, and the kids around me, the older kids, all started surrounding the back of me, and they were like, "Are you okay?" And they were like holding me, walking, and I was like, wow, this is really weird behavior. Y'all don't like me and would actively make fun of me. This is really odd that the bullies are touching me. Why are y'all touching me? And as I was walking up to them, they were like, "What is it?" And I was like, I think I was on a seesaw, and I rode it backwards, and then I fell. And they were like, "Yeah, okay, sit down over there." Okay. And then another kid had to be like, "Hey, there's blood on the back of her shirt." Like, I was sitting down for probably about 15 minutes, just bleeding. And another kid had to be like, "Hey, there's blood on the back of your shirt. All down your shirt." And then they went and told the daycare teacher, and she was like, "We should probably call someone." They did, and I got taken to the hospital. Crusty shirt cut off of me and all, and I was screaming, not because of the wound, because they were trying to cut my hair, and the scissors kept touching the wound. Like, why would you do that? And then I was like, "Stop touching with the scissors." And they wouldn't, of course, because why would you listen to a little kid who actually knows what they're talking about and exactly what's going on? And then my parents on the ride there were like, "You know, because you're making us take you there, looks like you're gonna have to get stitches." And I was like, "I don't want that. Like, I don't want a needle in my head. Like, I don't want that. Just making me feel terrible for dying. Like, you know, that might happen. So just get ready." It's your fault. So so we get there, and they're like assessing the damage, and my regular pediatrician or whatever was on vacation, and the guy that did it was like look, we just need to do blah, 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 blah. And then it was done. And every grade I went into, whenever they would do like lice checks or whatever, they would always call my parents and be like, hey, they have a giant wound on the back. They have a giant scar on the, can you tell us what happened? And until I healed, like, started healing, like my now, that's when the scar actually went away, because I could always feel it. And I could always, like when I would get my hair cut, I'd be like, hey, don't pull too hard on this area. So I'm going to call this time before school, because again, I don't actually know age and birth certificate and all that. So that sounds good to me. I'll just put it in sectors. Again, any feedback on this is welcome. If you have something you want me to explain better or talk about, just let me know. This one did not make me very happy. Okay.